Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is August the 18th, 2024. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Let's see here. My Sunday has been pretty relaxed. Actually got up early, got to the store early. We love to see it, getting that worm, you know what I mean. Let's see. Not much though, just in and out, and just been hanging out so far. We'll say what yesterday was hot, so it was definitely hot. Getting into yesterday, talking about yesterday, what did I do, and then what do we eat? Also, and I wanted to make an addition here from the food corner yesterday. I had a awesome cinnamon raisin and strawberry cream cheese bagel, and a little order of the tots. I feel like the tots from Dunkin' Donuts have gotten better, and I wanted to give a shout out to that meal. Also, I had a large sweet tea because I had coffee from the IHOP, so I was like, I don't need more coffee. So there was that. Wanted to add that. Anyway, let's see. Like I said, after the laundry, after the podcast and the walk, I went to the store to get a new fan because it was hot and I was sweating and I wasn't liking it. And I'm like, we need to get back to a 2-fan system. And I went to my local Walmart, and luckily, after like trawling around looking, I didn't know where it were. I finally found the aisle where they were in, and I was like, yes, awesome. So that was nice. It wasn't too expensive either, so I was happy about that. Let's see. Then I came home, hung out for a little bit, watched some like streamer games stuff, some like live stream, yada yada yada. And then I went to go get food. And I gotta say, this was a good food corner for me. Good food moment. We went to Penn Station, and I got one small Philly cheesesteak, East Coast style, with extra grilled banana peppers and mustard. And then I got a Reuben. And I don't know why I didn't think that they could do this. I didn't even know they had a Reuben sandwich that they could put on the grill. So I was like, yeah, let me get that. Or maybe I did and I just repressed it. I don't know. It's possible. But I got that. And then I got a medium fry and a large lemonade. And it was incredible. I usually get a default cookie, like the big chocolate chip cookie they have, but they were looking a little, so I'm glad I didn't get them. But yeah, overall the meal was fire. It was really good, yummy, yummy, yummy. Let's see here. Was there anything else I really wanted to report in about, yap about? No, I feel like we're pretty good. Let's see here. I know we got a little bit more news to cover, but hey, it's been a packed burrito this week. So what can I tell you? It is what it is. Also, I wanted just up top before we do the startup and all that. The first article is pretty rough. So trigger warning, sexual assault, rape, all that stuff. But yeah, let's go ahead and do our startup, and we'll go ahead and get into this. So awesome. Well, not awesome, but you know what I mean. Ooh. Okay. All right, let's get into this. From Al Jazeera. Indian medics stage nationwide strike over doctors' rape and murder. Indian doctors observed a nationwide strike, escalating protests after the barbaric rape and murder of their colleague that has channeled outrage at the chronic issue of violence against women. The discovery of the 31-year-old bloodied body at a state-run hospital in Kolkata, the capital of the eastern state of West Bengal, on August 9th led to furious protests in several cities across the country. Many of these protests have led to doctors and other healthcare workers, have been led by doctors and other healthcare workers, but also joined by tens of thousands of common Indians from all walks of life demanding action. Excuse me. In Kolkata, thousands held a candlelit vigil. Hands that heal shouldn't bleed, read one sign, held by a protester in the eastern city. I also know of like doctors more or less staging protests in the sense of we are going to come to work and we're going to do emergency surgeries, but we're going to turn down any non-emergency surgery, until we see some changes. Let's see here. I think it's also worth noting too that like this has been like the main highlight, but I mean, things have been so bad and so rampant. I believe the other day, a nurse in another city in India was also a part of a gang rape situation and murder. So that's obviously very sad, and this has been something that's been, been going on for a very long time. Also, I kind of hate that there's this kind of highlight and focus, and I've heard other podcasters and people say like, oh, like, yeah, it's kind of like a thing that happens in India. Like, this doesn't happen in every fucking country. Like, in any kind of situation where it is a male-dominated atmosphere, this is an issue. I think it's just you hear more prevalent cases in India, and I think it's also really sad, too, because there's a lot of, like, burned-in culture where it's like, oh, it's about how you were dressed. It's about how you were talking to the man and all these things. And it's like, no, I'm a human being, right? Like, you should be treating me like I'm a human being first and foremost. If you wouldn't want that done to you, you shouldn't do this to me. Two, I'm your doctor. Like, I'm your healthcare provider. Like, why are you trying to do anything other than get what you need from me, which is literally healthcare? It's insane here. And it's insane when these moments happen that it is immediately flipped on the woman. Like, oh, what were you wearing? What were you saying? How were you saying it? When it's like, no, this person, these people did something very terrible, did something very atrocious. Like, that should be the only focus, point blank period. There should be no, distraction or delusion to something else. So yeah, I was really just like, I didn't want to talk about it because obviously as a man, I don't really feel like this is above my pay grade. I don't say this right, of course, but I did want to at least talk about this because obviously it's something that has been highlighted a lot in the news, and that there's seeming to be more cases of it coming up, unfortunately. Sexual violence against women is a widespread problem in India. An average of nearly 90 rapes a day were reported in 2020. In the country of 1.4 billion people. What was it? Yeah, it was a closing statement from that. Oh, it's also definitely worth noting that they did detain one person who they have like a suspect. I read in one article that he was a police volunteer. In this article, they describe him as a person who was just working the hospital, kind of directing kind of the traffic within the hospital, kind of who comes in, who comes out. So that person is a suspect and I guess like a primary one of that situation. But I mean, in this kind of moment, something I feel like it's worth mentioning, it's like, okay, you got one guy, right? But that doesn't dissuade or anything, because like I feel like in a lot of these situations, at least for me growing up, watching the SVU or hearing any of the kind of cases that would happen, you usually just hear about one guy, right? But when there's multiple people, like even getting like one or two can sometimes not even feel like it's enough. Like, no, like I'm always going to have to feel scared. I'm always going to have to feel this way. Not that wouldn't change even if you did knowingly get every person involved, of course, but I'm sure that's just an added layer to this fucking shit. It's obviously very unfortunate, terrible stuff we got to wade through. But I did want to talk about it. So we can say we did that. Let's go ahead and move on to the next beat from the Associated Press. U.S. arrests... I don't know why I feel like I said that weird. U.S. arrests reputed Peruvian gang leader wanted for 23 killings in his home country. A reputed Peruvian gang leader suspected in 23 killings in his home country was arrested Wednesday in New York by immigration authorities. Gianfranco Torres Navarro, the leader of Los Killers, who is wanted for the killings in Peru, was arrested in Endicott, New York, about 145 miles northwest of New York City. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement said Thursday. He is being held at a federal detention facility near Buffalo pending an immigration hearing. Torres Navarro, 38, entered the U.S. illegally at the Texas-Mexico border on May 16th. He was arrested the same day and given a notice to appear for immigration proceedings, according to the agency known as ICE. U.S. authorities moved to arrest Torres Navarro after receiving information on July 8th that he was wanted in Peru. Gianfranco Torres Navarro poses a significant threat to our communities, and we won't allow New York to be a safe haven for dangerous non-citizens, said Thomas Brophy. What a fun name, Brophy. The director of enforcement removal operations for ICE's Buffalo field office. All right, let's scroll on. The immigration agents also arrested Torres Navarro's girlfriend, Michelle Sol Ivana Ortiz I'm going to get this wrong. Ubiulis, described by Peruvian authorities as his right hand, or his go-to. Anyway, sorry. She is being held at a processing center in Pennsylvania, according to ICE's online detainee locator system. So they looked her up. Online immigration detention records for Torres Navarro and Ortiz Ubiulis did not include information on lawyers who could comment on their behalf. Let's scroll ahead. According to Peruvian authorities, Torres Navarro is the leader of a criminal organization known as the Los Killers de Ventolina y Calo that has used violence to thwart rivals seeking to cut into its core business of extorting construction companies. I imagine that's a pretty good racket. Torres Navarro allegedly fled Peru after the killing of retired police officer Cesar Huega Huera and the shooting of a municipal employee at a restaurant in San Miguel in March, Peruvian media reported. 6 reputed members of Los Killers formed in 2022 in an area along the Pacific coast where Peru's main port is located were arrested in a series of raids in June and accused of homicide, contract killing, and extortion, the National Police of Peru said. Let's see here. Was there anything else I really wanted to pull? Let's see. They do talk about a little bit more about his girlfriend, Ortiz. Apparently, she had a pretty big following on TikTok, where she showed off their lavish lifestyle, including designer clothes, resort vacations, and shooting targets at the gun range. So, I mean, hey, at least this is like where you can like tip of the hat to, our immigration system and trying to be like, hey, we're stopping the criminals. I do wonder if they're going to use any of this on like the campaign trail, either on the right or the left. Also, I think just since we're talking about border stuff vaguely here, I think numbers apparently have been going down on border crossings, if I'm not mistaken, or at least something like that to that effect. I'm kind of riffing this information here. I'm also curious if the Biden administration is going to try to tout that fact or not, but we'll see. But yeah, this was some news that came up. I figured, hey, it's worth squawking about. But this came down, I want to say yesterday, but let's see here from NPR. Perdue recalls 167,000 pounds of frozen chicken that may contain metal. That's not good. That can't be good. Perdue Foods says it has recalled more than 167,000 pounds of frozen chicken products after discovering they may be contaminated with traces of metal. In a statement released Friday, Perdue said it had voluntarily recalled 171,000 pounds of frozen breaded chicken breast tenders and nuggets after identifying a foreign material in its products following consumer complaints. Damn. We determined the material to be a very thin strand of metal wire that was inadvertently introduced into the manufacturing process, said Jeff Shaw, Senior Vice President of the Food Safety and Quality for Perdue. Man, I for some reason really get irked when they say a very thin strand of metal wire. What does that mean? Because you have to recall so much chicken. I got, you want details here, I guess. I mean, I guess blessed in the situation where my chicken is not Perdue chicken in this situation. So, lucky me. Awesome. Love that. We dodged another one, boys, gals, MBs. Awesome. But, I mean, if you are potentially a Perdue chicken enjoyer, I guess I'm going to give a little bit of details for you. The recall concerns products that were produced on March 23rd of 2023 with a best if used by date of March 23 of 2025. The recalled products include Perdue Simply Smart Organic Gluten-Free Breaded Chicken Breast Nuggets, Perdue Breaded Chicken Breast Tenders, Butcher Box, damn, I got the Butcher Box too. Butcher Box Organic Free Fully Frozen Cooked Breast Chicken Nuggets. The U.S. Department of Agriculture's Food Safety and Inspection Service, or FSIS, urged consumers who have these products in their freezer to throw them away because obviously you wouldn't want to eat metal. That wouldn't be good for you. So yeah, I guess be on the lookout, but hopefully you don't have the bag in the situation and you're good. Hopefully you're not going to be eating the heavy metal chicken. But yeah, let's go ahead and let's move on forward. Let's hit the next thing. From USA Today. National public data confirms massive data breach included social security numbers. Egad. National public data, which aggregates data to provide background checks, has confirmed it suffered a massive data breach involving social security numbers and other personal data on millions of Americans. The Coral Springs Florida company posted on its website a notice that there appears to have been a data security incident that may have involved some of your personal information. The incident is believed to have involved a third-party bad actor that was trying to hack data in late December of 2023, with potential leaks of certain data in April 2024 and the summer of 2024. Let's see. News about the breach first came from a class action lawsuit filed in the U.S. District Court in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and first reported by Bloomberg Law. Stolen from the NPD, or National Public Data, were 2.9 billion records, including names, addresses, social security numbers, and relatives dating back at least 3 decades, according to law firm Schubert, Jonker, and Colby, which filed the suit. Now, full confession, full disclosure, I had heard about this story at the top of the week earlier on, and I actually had it on the queue to talk about, but I didn't have it from a source that I really liked. It was a Bleeping Computer one, which is fine. I've used it before, but I was kind of a bit gun shy about it, and the way that they had worded their article was yeah, this is totally a thing. It totally happened. We have people in these little forums, these hacker forums, saying, hey, we do have this information, that information, yada yada. But it's maybe you don't even have to worry about it. And it felt very so you're telling me a thing, but it might not be as bad. So I kind of was maybe I won't talk about it. So I did it. But then I kept seeing the story in more and more reputable sources, and I was okay, so it definitely was a real thing. It's definitely pretty major leak, because it's so much information that I do think that, kind of going back to that Bleeping Computer article, probably overall most of us are okay. It's fine, even if your shit did get leaked, but it is a massive breach. You could have your information potentially have be revealed. That can affect your credit, especially when it's your social security card. They can use that as information to potentially get a card or get a thing in your name if they have enough, tangible information on you. So they advise in this article in USA Today to do things like freezing your credit, which, hey, I've had to do that before because I've had my information stolen or looked at, and I felt very uncomfortable, and I'm well, what should I do? And I'm okay, I'm going to freeze my stuff. So I froze my credit information for a year. That kind of sucked. But at the same time, it was nice to know that no one was fucking with my shit for a little bit. Let's see here. They do, and you can do that, I believe, at Experian. Yeah, I think you can just go on Experian.com, and I think they can set you up on how to freeze your credit information there. But if you feel the need to. But let me read this other part too. Cybersecurity firm Penster said it got the data and created a tool you can use to see if your information is in the breach. It shows names, addresses history, and social security numbers. You will find it at mpd.penster.com. I don't know if that's something you have to pay for. I would assume it's free. The experience thing I told you about freezing your stuff, that's free. You don't have to pay for that. But yeah, I mean, me personally, am I super worried about it? No. Just because it's just so much information. Like, it's so many fucking people. It's so much stuff. Like, the social security part is a part of a big part of this leak, is what it seems like. So, I don't know. I'm not going to freak out and say the sky is falling. Like, there's no such thing as privacy. Everything's kind of on the up. I think it's just very scary when you hear social security card or social security number, because that's not something that you can, like, switch out. You can change your name. You can change so many things. But shit, it's sometimes easier to change your fucking face than it is to change your goddamn social security number. You know what I mean? So that's kind of like a big identifier for you. So if someone else has that and is using that to, like, do fuck, like, whatever, you know, that could be really bad for you. So, you know, definitely good to protect your information. Obviously, I'm kind of riffing through this article because I kind of want to get on to the next and last thing. But yeah, feel free to read that from USA Today or Believing Computer, which I also referenced. Okay, let's go ahead and do our last break, and then we'll go ahead and close it out. I don't know. This was a story I didn't have to cover, I felt like, but I thought it was kind of fun. I thought it was kind of a nice way to close out the weekend. Why not? Something a little bit light, you know, a little bit of balance of healthy and maybe not so healthy, you know, in the same kind of, load. So yeah, let's go ahead and take our last break and we'll close it out. Whew. All right, from NBC News. Over 2,300 pounds of meth found hidden in celery at Georgia farmers market. So, little mix here. Celery was used to conceal more than 2,300 pounds of methamphetamines that federal agents discovered in a truck at a farmer's market outside Atlanta. In the U.S. The U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration said, and what the DEA called one of the largest seizures of its kind, agents confiscated the drugs being delivered to Atlanta State Farmers Market in Forest Park. Authorities said at a Monday news conference. WAGA TV reported. So apparently, they had tried to, like, use a load of celery and put this over the methamphetamines, and think, okay, everything's gonna be hunky-dory, we're gonna put this in the farmer's market, and then we're gonna, I guess move out the meth later or some shit. I don't know. But shit hit the fan, and that didn't wind up working out. Let's see here. A Mexican citizen was arrested, the Atlanta TV station reported. Details about the suspect and charges were not immediately available Tuesday. Using produce to conceal drugs has become a frequent tactic of smugglers, authorities said. I mean, that makes sense. I've heard stories of, like, people putting the coffee in, like over drugs, like cocaine and stuff, to, like, conceal the smell. And I'm going to close out just this random thought I kind of had while I was in my little insomnia stupor from waking up from one of my long little, night little siesta naps, whatever you want to call them. Anyway, I sometimes will watch like random stuff on YouTube. They have a collection of smuggler like border stuff. So, like, people who are, like, coming to, like, traveling to the U.S. or to any kind of country, because I watch them at my friend's house. I've watched them before, like, as a kid on cable TV, where, like, people come in and, like, either they're smuggling contraband, like, counterfeit money, or just money from, they aren't declaring, yada, 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 or drugs, whatever. Take your pick. And I was thinking to myself how I was like, you know how like cops got a like kind of a negative wave. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Where there's a bit of like a bit of social backlash as we've gotten older, and they're like, is cops problematic? And then like it kind of went off. People really haven't taken it up. But then obviously, I think people are always gonna love that kind of shit. Bad boys, what you want, what you want, what you want to do. Like that's iconic, and like the show in and of itself was iconic. Whether or not it's just like, oh, cool, I love that you're just like busted up minorities back to back to back to back to back. Even though it's not always that. I know. But anyway, back to what I'm kind of thinking on my last thought here. Are those shows problematic in and of themselves? Are they just like Cops in that way? Like, I kind of kept watching it, and like, I'm having the situation like the episode I was watching where like I'm watching this guy who is like the security guy, cop guy, law enforcement, whatever, and like the whole goal for him is to like pressure you into like in this situation, like say, hey, you have counterfeit money. I need you to say that you and this other guy are connected, or there's some other guy, right, that's connected to this, and you're gonna cop to this and say, hey, yeah, I actually don't know where this money is going to, yada, yada, yada. And like there was one situation where he didn't get the person to fold, and the two people that he thought were connected or said were connected, they didn't cop to it, so whatever. But then in like the last episode, the last part of it I watched before I just said I don't want to watch this anymore, he did get like the lady to cop to it, and then he's like, yeah, we got him. And it's like, I don't know, man, watching shit like that, like beat after beat after beat, I guess it's just this regurgitated, and like I do like it, like it is like the kind of TV I will watch. And I don't know, if Cops came back on TV, would I watch it again? Probably. I wouldn't hate it. If it was on Hulu, I'd probably look it up every once in a blue moon, maybe. But I can see how people do think it's kind of like, well, now you're just making like extra profit on a profit, and you're like making Cops like 5-second superstars. So I don't know, weird little closeout here, but there was meth and celery together. Weird crossover event at the Atlanta Farmers Market. That's what we'll close out at. That's the end of the episode. Let's see here. Okay, cool. We didn't go super duper. We were long, but not too long. I'm not going to shill. So thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love you. Bye-bye. Mwah.